Welcome to Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise and News Radio 98.9 and 1070 AM WINA, and brought to you by the Jefferson School Foundation with Marky and Price, coming to you in the studio from downtown Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm going to start saying the state because we might be interstate. We might have guest house. So? We might have fans. We got fans in China. Don't even. I look at the stats. So Charlottesville, Virginia.
That one person abroad.
No, it's just one.
Good for
Whoever
you.
you are, we appreciate you.
We're global.
You're keeping us globally afloat. And everybody can't say that.
That's exactly right. We need to translate this into a couple other languages.
We should.
Yeah.
We need to be inclusive. We're being exclusive because it's only in English.
That is true.
Today we are thrilled to be joined by Athena Gould. Right? Is it Gould? Gould, yes. Virginia Humanity's first deputy director. She leads programs and operations, grows and manages the health and wellness of people and culture, and measures and evaluates the vitality of the work in the public humanities across the Commonwealth. Prior to coming to Virginia Humanities, Athena served as an executive director of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Central Blue Ridge. But most exciting for me, she is the next guest on this episode of Envision Radio.
Thank you for having me.
That's
the male version of
Yeah,
that's right. That's exactly right. Well, look, it's the guests come in a lot of forms, but I think more often than not, it's people who we've either crossed paths with or engaged with over the years in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, anybody I meet at the post office, I'll say, you wanna be on the show?
I mean, no, but you have. I said this early. I'm still surprised there are people, and there's like very interesting people.
Yeah.
I thought I was trying really hard to find people. It turns out I was just like texting my friends.
Yeah. He said, I don't know how we're going to get past 50 episodes.
I didn't know we were going to get past
200 now?
230 almost. We know some people. Come on.
But it turns out that no, that's not what it is at all. It's ever since she came on. The beginning was literally me on like a Tuesday evening texting my friends being like, what are you doing Thursday morning? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, can you come do this thing that we're trying to do? Like, oh yeah, like the day after tomorrow. They're like, what do I talk about? I'm like, I'm not sure. Just we'll figure it out as we go. But now there's like a schedule and there's prep and it's
We've
stuff
actually gotten people
like,
requests to be on. We've gotten like 3 requests for people to
that's
be coming
hilarious.
on. I'm like, you want to be on the show?
Yeah.
I was actually about to reach out to you and ask if you come on. So thank God.
Yeah, just like, sorry. Talk to my assistant or our scheduler.
Is it bigger than you've dreamed it would be?
Oh, times 1,000.
I
mean, times 1,000. I mean, the origin story of this certainly was it was a COVID era thing, and so my daughter was born, and it was COVID, and we were trying. I mean, the honest truth is, I was trying to find something to do. Yeah. I was home with. I mean, the first episodes of this, you can hear my kid.
It's over the phone.
It's over the phone. You can hear my kids like in my lap, and like we're in the office in my house trying to figure out what to do. The point was to try and figure out how to connect some of the local dots, right? Of sort of people and place and stories that I was arguing weren't as public as they should be. Yep. It became apparent to me, right or wrong, that a lot of the discourse locally was being had by the same 10 people, right? And that's not in any way disparaging to those people, right? But it was the kind of thing of like, I know what the mayor thinks, and I know what the president of the university thinks, and I know. Well, no, but again, all very interesting people with very valuable opinions. But like, what about everyone else?
Yeah.
Just what about all the other people that make up the tapestry of a town?
Exactly.
That can't sit in the same seat. They can't have their story broadcast. They can't have their ideas and their vision for what Charlottesville is sort of put out into the ether. Yeah. And so that's how it started. And so people kept asking, when you start a thing like this, they just kept asking, well, what is the frame of it in the back? And I kept being like, I can't explain this to you any clearer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I'm building it.
And even to now, I think we sort of got to a point where we were like,
maybe it's so big we still can't explain it.
But it got to a point where that became the thing. I think that then it transformed to the point where instead of it being a liability, I think it became the soul of it, which was like, it is just about whoever's on the other side.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's about work, and sometimes it's about art, and sometimes it's about anime, and sometimes it's about politics, but it's just about the people. And I think the point of that was to really demonstrate that is what a town is. It's just it's the amalgamation of all of the stuff, right? Instead of being like, we only discuss economics, and right? It's just like, whoever's over there, what do you got? And so I think that's what's exciting about it. And I think to the point of what you were asking off air is like, talk about whatever you want. Yeah. What animates you? That's what we're here for, right? And we know a little bit about a lot, but not enough to really be that interesting. That's what you're here for.
No pressure.
So carry us home. But no, thank you for joining us. And what for people who don't know you or haven't had the chance to work with you, the show starts biographically. Yeah. and then ends, Lord knows, but it starts biographic. So tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about, go to the beginning about, we'll talk about where you're from. We'll talk about how you got to Charlottesville, and then we'll explore all the work you've done in a very diverse CV, and we'd love to get into all that as well.
Yeah, well, that's not important, right? No, that's important. CV's not important. I wrote a story to tell you all because I was terrified to be on here this morning.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, how am I engaging? I've listened to some of your interviews. I've seen some of your guests. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lo is interesting. Ooh, how do I top that? Ooh, I don't know. And so I just wanted to tell you a little story.
Perfect.
And this is about tea time.
Yes.
So do you drink tea?
No. I did get a tea set.
You said that so confidently.
No,
yes, tea.
I bought a tea set.
I
bought a tea set, but then for some reason it just feels hard.
It feels hard?
Yeah, it's like
to make it?
Yeah, I have the loose leaf. I bought the little thing to put the loose leaf in.
Look, you can start with a tea bag.
Why'd you start with the complicated version?
Somebody told me that it's better that way.
It is better. But you start where you start.
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. Could I do this even once a week? Sure, but am I? So now it's just sitting.
You know where it is nice at? In the back of my cupboard.
That's right. It's really cute. It's a little stainless steel filter thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's with a little hook on it to go over the cup. But yes, tea.
So when I was like 8 years old, we were living in England. My dad was in the Air Force. And I didn't have any friends in the neighborhood because we went to school on the military base, which was about an hour away. And we had neighbors. So in my mind, right, as I'm trying to recall the story, I'm like, they were really, 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 really old. And I'm like, oh, they're probably like 50.
I know.
Sure.
It's relative.
My ancient 35-year-old neighbors. Right.
I'm like, I think they had gray hair. Maybe they were 40.
Sure.
They were really, really old. But they would have me over for tea, Mr. and Mrs. Giles.
Oh, London tea, too.
London tea, right?
Like
so it was like the whole
tea.
tea.
I'm really
and I did the
I'm
whole
disrespecting tea the way I'm talking.
And I sort of was like, oh, cheerio. They're like, don't do that.
Yeah, right.
Don't just drink the tea. And the reason it's important, right? The reason I wanted to share it this morning is not because of the tea itself, right? Tea became a part of my life. Years later, in my grandmother's kitchen at like 20, she and I would have tea every day. And I would have like what I thought was my British tea. And she would cut up garlic and lemon and put it in hot water. And it's like, this lowers your blood pressure. And we would sit there every morning and do Sudoku, right, and talk. But the reason it was important at 8 was because it was the first time that an adult outside of my family took an interest in me in a way that was like, oh, you have a voice and what you have to say is interesting. And for me, that was powerful. And I think it's, right, sort of led the trajectory of my life. Like kids and their voices are powerful.
Yes.
And even at the age of 8, you have something to say that's interesting.
As you recall that story, how did that happen? Were you knocking on doors? Were you just like in their yard? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, because there is that very sort of romantic notion of like, oh, the little neighbor girl comes over and like, hey, and there, my kids are young, and so I just envision Up. Right? Of just the guy being like, all right, go away. And then finally, like the 5th knock, he's like, okay, fine, come in. And then 6 months later.
I was that kid.
Like,
I'm starting to feel like this is Up, right?
Yeah, I was that kid with no balloons. There were no balloons.
Okay.
And we didn't travel with a house.
Sure, that's exactly.
But I was that kid, I always wanted to know what's happening and who are you and what's your story.
Okay.
And, right, so I don't think they came over, which, right, would have been a red flag. Right? If they'd come to me and been like, hello, young woman, would you like to have tea? But I was like, what's happening in this neighborhood? Who are you? What do you? And I think they were kind enough to be like, all right, like, shut up, come in and have some tea, right? And get out. Yeah. And get out. And for me, I was like, oh, they like me. They really I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. These are my best friends, Ethel and Merle.
Sure. That's right. That's right.
Wow. You really went for it, didn't you?
I don't know. What are some old people names? Price.
Again, you say old people names. They were young people once, too.
Yeah. But the names were still old.
That's very true. That's very true.
Where else did you live growing up?
Yeah, we lived in North Carolina. We were in Fayetteville.
Oh, sure.
We were in Sumter in South Carolina. We were in Brooklyn for a bit. I was also born in Brooklyn. We lived in Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh, for a bit, and then we ended up on Long Island in Amityville, which is where my dad's from.
So was the UK your only overseas?
It was my only
adventure.
Overseas. Yeah.
How long were you there for?
About 2.5 years.
How'd you like it? I mean, a lot of military. It's an interesting experience for my parents were teachers, but my wife's parents were in the service, and just I've heard it come in sort of 2 bits of people that really sort of engage with it, and I loved it, and I wanted to I want to go to Germany and then Korea and then run versus kind of like, okay, it was a stop on the tour. It was a job,
Yeah.
and I was ready to come back. I mean, what was, I mean, how do you remember it fondly as like a cool cultural experience, or just like, ugh, like I was away from my stuff and the things that were,
I think when you grow up living in so many places, at least as a kid, I defined it by who else is here, right? And much less of the location itself. So when you're in places like a military base where everybody is in the military, it feels more normal because you know that everybody is transitioning here. Whereas when I went to Amityville, these are kids that have known each other their whole lives, right? And they have roots and a shared history. And so it was harder, I think, for me to adapt to those places in the United States as opposed to military bases. But it also translated, Price, when you talk about kids, we've lived in Charlottesville my kids have gone to school in Charlottesville for 10 years intentionally because those roots felt important to me, right? That they grow up having some stability and learning, right? A sense of self.
Yeah.
So when you stopped traveling, you settled down.
Yeah.
You were, I guess 18 or you finished school. What was your next step after that?
Yeah. So I stayed on Long Island a long time. I went to college on Long Island. And then I met a man, also from Long Island, who's my husband. And
shout out to husband.
Dwayne, my husband Dwayne. And he was moving to Vegas when we first met. So we were long distance for about 2 years. And then I moved to Vegas and we had kids and got married. And I worked out there for 10 years. And then we moved to Charlottesville.
Why?
Yeah, why the move to Charlottesville?
So
how'd you get to here?
We moved to Vegas, obviously, for him and his work. And we moved to Charlottesville for me. I was the chief program officer for Big Brothers in Vegas for about 5 years.
Okay.
And we wanted to come home because we had kids, but we didn't want to come back to New York because you can't live in New York. It's too expensive.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And so the board here and I decided that Charlottesville would be our next stop. And I became the executive director at Big Brothers. And I did that for 8 years.
Wow. Wow. So you came all the way across the country. Yeah. Did you have any interaction with Virginia before? Was that any part of your stop along the way?
No. I mean, I have two uncles, right? I have several uncles.
Shout out to the other uncle.
But them two ain't where we are.
But one lives in Woodbridge, the other lives in Petersburg. So I had visited Virginia. Okay. But when we were moving back, I remember saying, I can live in North Carolina and I can live in Maryland.
Sure. We're just going to skip right over.
Yeah. I don't live in Virginia. And I was like, we live in Virginia now. We live in Virginia.
That's how it goes. By the way, if you were just joining us, this is Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA, and City of Promise. That's me. That's my thing. Price and Markey here with Athena Gould. Big thanks to our friend, our sponsor, the Jefferson School Foundation. That is jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. So you get to Virginia, and are you excited about it? Or are you like, good Lord, like,
it's not Maryland.
it ain't Vegas either,
no,
right? I mean, what was,
but it's not anything, right? It's not any of the other places I've lived.
Yeah.
But Charlottesville's interesting, right? So I come out, the board flies me out, right? And I interview, and I remember being in the hotel and watching the news, and one of the top stories was like, man hits deer, right? And I'm like, that's a news story? Why is that on this? This is 16. I moved to 2016.
Oh, okay. I was to say, right? What year was this?
2016. And I'm like, what is this? And the cherry blossoms were blooming.
Sure.
The cherry blossoms.
I'm like, what is this? What is this town?
Yeah.
And then 17 happened. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
When did you take the job?
In May of 16.
Okay. All right. So you're like, perfect. I'm in this lovely little dogwood laden town. We live here now. Whoops.
Yeah. And I'd already had questions. Like, what is this?
Everybody does. If you can believe that.
I can't believe it. No.
I got questions.
So take us through that, right? So 17 happens and what? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know the end of the story, right? But at that time, is it, oh no, like,
yeah,
we're out? Is it, I mean, what was, because I think there's a version, I don't know how you feel about this. For those of us who are either from here or have lived here a long time, there was a certain galvanizing aspect to that experience. But I think that, I don't know, I think that if I moved to a new place and that, I had no sort of either visceral or tangible connection to it, and that happened, I'm like, yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Like, cool, but no thanks. Right? But what was that? Do you remember that time period, or what you and your husband were talking about? I mean, walk us through that.
Yeah, I do. So we were semi-committed, right? We're a year in. We're semi-committed to being in Charlottesville already. But when 17 happened, because my background forever is youth development.
Oh, okay.
And I remember thinking like, yeah, there's a lot of important conversations happening in Charlottesville and across the country, right? Charlottesville is right now its own descriptor at that point. Right. And I was like, but I don't really hear anybody talking about kids.
Sure.
And so I think it was like 2 days after, right? I'm sitting with my husband and I'm like, I think we got to do something. And so I called up, and this is not name dropping, right? These are my friends. But
it's not name dropping if they're your friends.
I actually
love that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
No, I love that. Actually, I'm gonna write that down because that is so true. I do think people think.
Oh, I was just texting LeBron.
Yeah,
we were friends though.
But that's not a name. You were just telling a story.
Just trying to give normal character in this story. Yeah, totally.
I called Barack.
Right, that's right.
I knew it was gonna be Barack.
He didn't answer. He didn't answer. But so I called if you know James Pierce. He was of course at the Boys and Girls Club at the time, and Tim Freilich was at Madison House, and Alicia Linehan was at Casa.
Yeah, sure.
And Jessica, I think she's Taylor now, was at the Y.
That's right.
Yeah, and I was like, listen, nobody's talking about kids, and we all do youth-centered work.
Assembled the Avengers. Yeah.
And I said, I have this idea, and I want to call it Dear Young Person, and I want to create this campaign that brings love to our kids. And then we decided we were going to do postcards. And so by that Monday, we had sent it out to all the nationals of all of our agencies.
Sure. Yeah.
And during that time, and then Aaron Hark, who is on my board, he owns Hark Vineyard.
Okay.
Sure.
But he also works with universities across the country. Created postcards. We sent them to colleges and universities and to all of the agencies, our youth serving agencies across the country. Ended up with 20,000 postcards that came here.
The return?
To Charlottesville. Wow. From kids and from universities, 235 universities. We created a little video that was part of the Seville, what's it called?
Weekly?
No. The concert for Charlottesville. Right?
Sure, that's what it was.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, Stevie Wonder was there.
Stevie Wonder was there. Yeah. I'm name dropping. Stevie Wonder was there.
So was I.
My friend Stevie. I said
Justin Timberlake. Yeah, that's right.
Justin didn't return my call, but Stevie was like, "Come on, bye."
Yes, the concert.
Yeah, and so the postcards ended up being used for Be Kind Week and anti-bullying campaigns, and went home with every kid in a backpack. And
that's
so
awesome.
That's what we did sort of a year into my time here.
That's so cool. So Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Big Brothers.
For how long?
8 years.
8
years here, 5 years in Vegas.
8. Wow. So walk me through, of all there's a lot of ways that we, sort of youth development, right? Yeah. Why that one and why that model? Right? Yeah. Was it the one, is it I asked this question, and is it a good story that yes, I sought that out, or is it it was a youth thing that I liked that I caught, right? Which way did the arrow point? Yeah. Did you seek that in a way that I like this and done like this? Mm-hmm. Or is it kids are important, I want to find my way into that world, and then that's the thing that captured your imagination?
Yeah. I don't believe that any one model or any one agency is the key, right?
Sure.
I think collaboration is important. I think of your work, and tell me, Price, if I'm wrong in this, but I believe that City of Promise is built on the work of Jeffrey Canada. Correct. Right? And who I'm a huge fan of that work, right? This idea of taking a community, right? A finite space and feeding into the parents and the kids, right? So it's like a cradle to college sort of model. I think that's important. I think the Big Brothers Big Sisters model is important. It's a one-on-one mentoring model, right? So kids, and if you're doing it right, then the young person is not the recipient of a mentor. They are in partnership with the mentor, right? If you've got a mentor who recognizes the value, right, and the voice of that young person, then this reciprocal relationship is valuable. I also worked at Boys and Girls Club when I was in Vegas, and I did gang prevention work and gang intervention work, and I was part of it was called DMC at the time, right? Disproportionate minority contact. This idea of kids having being disproportionately targeted by police, and therefore more likely to end up incarcerated because of the contact. And so it was this really great coalition in Vegas that included law enforcement and truancy officers and hearing masters, which is what they call judges for kids, juvenile judges in Vegas, and lots of organizations to sort of stem the tide of DMC.
And in your time in Big Brothers Big Sisters, what as you again leading an organization like that comes with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But as it grew and as you sort of worked through it, I mean, were there things that surprised you not only about the work but sort of you in doing it? So did you evolve through that in a way that was like, I'm in year 5, I'm like, oh wow, like, I'm feeling different about where we started, or I don't like all this raising money nonsense, or just your version of that world. I mean, how did you sort of move through that again in a town that is very small, that is very civically engaged and very wealthy, right? But we're still sort of consistently struggling with similar things.
Yes.
I'm always interested in other people's take on that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, how do you feel about it? How do you feel sort of, sitting in those places and spaces and pulling together a bunch of really smart, committed people, and just being like, what do you feel like in your time was the thing that you learned the most about, like, why things might not have been moving as quickly as they should have?
Yeah. I think as I look back, my perception is different than it was at the time. But one thing that's been consistent for me, and I guess this might be a running theme of the day, right, is how we view young people.
Okay.
And I remember when I first arrived here having to internally and externally talk consistently about the value of kids. And when you're working with kids, it is a responsibility and an honor, right? Because young people are incredible. We talk a lot about the potential, right? The potential of young people. And that's important, right? We want to feed into them so that the next step of their journey is more successful than this. But even today, right? We don't talk about how incredible they are today, right? And how smart and how curious and how fun-loving they are if you're consistent enough to, like, break through the shell, right? Kids are pretty incredible today. So I spend a lot of time talking to people about the value of a kid today and why a kid might be in a mentoring program. Right? The perception sometimes is that kids are in a mentoring program because of all of these negative things. Their house is this, their parent is this. And I had to shift that discussion to talk about, let's look at the good things that are happening, right? Let's look at the strength-based with donors, right? With staff members and with the community. And fundraising is tough. You mentioned that.
But so when you reflect on that experience, how do you reflect on that experience?
Yeah.
Positively, and I mean, you're generally a positive person, so it's not, it's not sort of binary in that sense, but is it one that you look back on being like, yeah, we fulfilled the mandate, or like, man, it was like, because you said you look at it differently now than you did then. What has changed in your reflection?
Yeah. I think even at Virginia Humanities, which I love, right? And I also loved the work at Big Brothers Big Sisters. But I'm able to see the difference when you've got structure and capacity, right? And staff and resources. I think a lot of smaller agencies do incredible work, but don't have those things. And you, Price, can tell me from even your experience as an executive director, but it weighs on you, right? And the responsibility of all the things weigh on you. If I don't raise enough money, my team doesn't get paid, right? It's on your shoulders. And if I'm not responsible with the money, then the impact is less. And at that time, I thought it was me, right? I was like, I just am not a great executive director. But stepping out of that, I'm able to see, no, it's the lack of resources and structure, right? That places you in this position. Yeah, because we sometimes see a name or a dollar sign, right, in terms of revenue, and assume that that's a larger impact agency. And there's a lot of really small agencies doing incredible work, and you just don't know about them because they don't have the capacity to be out there knocking on doors in the same way.
I mean, you make an incredibly interesting point, right, that like impact as measured by fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you feel the potentially you can make a cogent argument that like the incentives are kind of competing, right? Where like you as an executive director are largely measured by dollars in the door. That is not an accurate measure of, positive impact out in the big wide world.
I agree.
Right? How did you live in that space, right? And how did you manage expectations from a standpoint of you as an organization, you as a person, and you as a practitioner?
Yeah.
wanted to do a thing,
Yeah.
right? And a thing that worked for kids and for families, right? Much of your time, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, is spent not doing that thing,
That's right.
but trying to fundamentally create a structure so that that thing could be done,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, how did you, I'm curious in sort of your, how did you feel about doing that, right? Were you
Don't
just like,
give him
this
the
is,
secret sauce.
were you just like, that's right. Yeah, look.
He's trying to take this back with him.
She made it 8 years.
Right.
8
He's like, I'm
years,
trying my-
right?
But I think
Listen,
that's
3
what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the fallacies is that we're all in competition, and we're not. Right?
Absolutely.
We should all be in collaboration and partnership, because no one agency, regardless of the size,
Yeah.
is doing all the things to meet the needs
Right.
of just a single person. Yeah, and so I wish that I had more opportunity to collaborate with other nonprofits at the time.
Okay.
Right, but to your point, yeah, you're sort of keeping all the plates
right.
spinning.
Right.
And when one drops, right, I think once you become seasoned, right, in the beginning it's like that plate dropped, it's the end of the world. But when you become seasoned, it's like, oh, that's okay, right? So when you have your first kid, you're like, oh, I'm going to bubble wrap them and please wash your hands before you touch them. And then you have your second kid and you're like, oh, no. He's just eating dirt. It's fine, right? Dirt's good for him. And that's what happens, right? Sort of as you evolve as an executive director, everything can't be on fire all the time. Some things, right, you've got to address. I guess everything could be on fire.
Exactly right.
I can't wait to be seasoned so I don't feel like everything's on fire.
Yeah? You still feel like
How long have you
been
in your role?
I've only been in my role over 5 years.
I've only been in over 5 years.
Everything's not
5
on fire.
plus.
You're doing
5
a
and a
great
half.
job.
Has it been that long? Have
You were there.
I been
Me and
gone
Price
that
used to
long?
work together, and this don't count. We worked together. We
We
used to
did
work
used
together.
to work together.
Crazy.
I was
John
there
couldn't
in the
handle both of
beginning.
She
us.
said you were there.
She said that with a question mark on the end. Like, were you at work?
I remember him anyway.
Yes, I was there.
Tell us a little bit about Virginia Humanities and how your transition there, and tell us a little bit about what it does.
Yeah. And I think Price already described Virginia Humanities, right? When he talked about this radio show, because it's the exact same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's the exact same thing. The goal is to be a microphone, to be a connector, to amplify the work that's happening across the Commonwealth, which is really, really cool, right? There's lots of incredible stories that if there is not somebody, and in your case, Price, it was us, who's intentionally bringing them together and sharing it across the country, the globe, right? Because you have listeners in China, then they stay in that little segment, and we're all poorer for not having had access to that story.
Okay.
And that's what Virginia Humanities does. We do it through lots of different avenues. We've got a radio show. When Jay was in here, he was talking about Sarah McConnell, who's in charge of our with Cruises show. Again, these are my friends, so not name dropping.
Absolutely.
And we have a podcast that we just started in Common. If you are in Charlottesville, for the listeners,
Yes.
we have the Festival of the Book that
Yes, I've heard
happens
of that.
every year. We have a folk life program. So I was
Folk life.
yeah, folk life. I was, and the folk life program has apprenticeships. Last night I was remembering a story of a man named Brad Hatch, who's an archaeologist down in Southwest Virginia, and he's part of the Powamic. I'm going to say it wrong. Powamic
Is
tribe.
It's a tribe of people.
And he was the last person in the tribe who knew how to create eel traps from scratch.
Yeah.
And so he became an apprentice with us and used it to teach other people in tribe so that this dying skill can live.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's something I never would have heard of if
And is that the focus, or is the focus of the folklore to?
in part, right?
Yeah.
In part it's
Okay.
to teach dying skills. Yeah, to keep them alive.
Are there any other skills that you've?
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
someone who made brooms from scratch.
Oh, I love it.
We've had quilt makers. This year, I think we have a quilt maker. Yeah.
I love the idea of a quilt. I wish I
know.
could sew.
Oh, I have a sewing machine from my grandmother. It's my grandmother's sewing machine. And I'm proud of it. And it sits at my parents'
But
house.
do you?
Like her
but so
tea
you're
set,
saying
right?
you have it?
It's like your tea set.
I own it, but it's not in my home. I can't sew.
Okay.
But I have it, and so it's aspirational, right? So one day I'm going to retire, and
That's
then I'm
it?
just going to sew stuff.
That's it. That's very good.
I hope sewing's not like learning a language though. It's harder the older you get.
Oh, Lord
God.
have mercy. Yeah, that's right.
Look at this. napkin that I just got.
But if you love me, you're going to like it anyway. Oh, that's beautiful.
It's true.
That's a beautiful
You'll
napkin.
be giving it out to kids at Christmas.
No, Halloween.
If you guys are just joining us, Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise, News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. Price and Markey here, and it's a temperate week.
It's been a nice
It's been a
day.
little better. Yeah, this is better.
It's so much better.
Yeah, but we're in that sort of summer stormy, like it's weird during the day. It rains really hard for like an hour.
So much rain.
Yeah, we needed it though.
Oh, here you go.
I'm at that age. We needed it.
The
yard
moment
needed
I
it.
start saying
We needed it.
we needed it,
We needed
please.
it. We needed it. Listen.
It's time to wrap it up.
I'm
needed it.
getting old.
Where you're like, ooh, my bones.
I do that. Well,
I mean, I was about to say that's
sit
been
down
happening
real
for a while. Yeah.
You make the noise.
What is all
you
that
get up.
creaking? Yeah, that's just my knees. Athena Gould with us. Big thanks to our sponsor, to our friend Jefferson School Foundation. Jefferson School Foundation, reimagined, redefined, refueled for the future. JeffersonSchoolFoundation.org. So talk about the work of Virginia Humanities and a lot of the diverse programming and the storytelling. How do you guys find the stuff? How do you unearth the stories? How do you find the people? I've been lucky enough. We've done some work with you guys in the Montpelier days, and we were talking a lot about the history and this and the third. But there's two parts to this that I want to ask you. There is so much, just like breadth of things and cool things happening. And Virginia is such a bizarre state that there's a lot of different stuff, right? So how do you parse through it and decide, like, oh yeah, we want to talk about this, we want to key in on this, we want to pay attention to this thing that's going on in Tidewater and this thing that's going on in Appomattox, and who and how, what is the process by which you sort of sift through all of the things that's going on and then make a decision of like, yeah, this is something that we want to really work hard and build.
Yeah. Each program is different, right? But it's a collaborative process. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that I talked about today was our grants. So our goal with enough funders is to give over $1 million in grants across the Commonwealth every year. Right now we're at about $750,000 that we're giving out in grants.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and then another about $200,000 in fellowships and apprenticeships.
Wow.
And so through the grant program, which is open, we're at virginiahumanities.org. Check out the website.
Yes.
If you're eligible, please apply for a grant.
I'm about to look it up.
And so look it up. Please look it up.
I got a phone.
And that's part of it, right? Some of it
no
is
money. Stop doing that. Don't do that.
no, do it.
I can't even look at the qualifications.
No.
I'm gonna read them out on the air.
Don't do that. No.
How will we amplify the work?
It says you have to be.
Unbelievable.
Mark is like, oh, it's all closed. Do not look at the
that's
website.
right. Just kidding. We claimed it.
So that's part of it, right? Is part of our job is to make sure that people are aware of what's happening, and so they come to us because there's no way that we're gonna know what's happening across the Commonwealth. But the other is that our programs are embedded across the Commonwealth. We have 2 hubs right now, or regional centers. One is in partnership with WHRO, which is down in the Hampton area, and the other is with UVA-Wise. And so the regional directors who are staff in those 2 locations, they're now working intentionally to partner with organizations in their area.
Okay.
And then Virginia Humanities funds that work as well.
Are the fellowships centered around doing research to provide storytelling? Or tell us about.
Yeah, so they're different. We have an HBCU fellowship program.
Hey.
Yeah. So
shout out to HU.
Which HU?
Exactly. I didn't say.
So my daughter's an incoming freshman at Hampton.
Okay, so that one.
Right.
I'm in Hampton.
Very good.
I'm in Hampton.
So before that, I was like, Now I'm like, oh, which one?
Yeah.
Which HU
They take it serious.
That's right. So yes, we have the HBCU fellowship program, and then we also have education fellows. We have a Roselle Schul, if you know Roselle Schul. She has a fellowship. We have a public humanities fellowship. And again, they're all on our website, and so you can see which one you might be eligible for.
There you go. Well, so what do you have a particular, and I'm not asking you to tell me which one of your kids is the cutest, but do you have a particular story that you really liked, or a project that's exactly a project you've really enjoyed, or like, let's go back to Go Forward. Yeah. What drew you to Virginia Humanities? That was that your next stop after Big Brother? Yeah. So that's a decent shift.
It is,
and it's a decent shift on 2 axes. It's a actual content shift, but it's also a position shift. let me ask you this. Did you like being in charge?
I did.
How was it not being in charge?
It's great.
After being in charge, it's better, right?
But I think going from in charge to not in charge, I think is probably.
But it is a transition though, and I want to pay homage to the fact that like it is very different, and it's a different lens, and it's a different perspective, and it is. Did you feel relieved by that? Were you annoyed by that? And obviously, Matt's awesome, so that you were lucky in a sense of he's great. But how was that transition personally to be the person for whom the buck stopped to all of a sudden being like, oh. Maybe that's not. I don't know.
She took a deep
no
breath.
Yeah, but I mean, again, did you? I mean, was it relief? Was it annoying? Was it tough? I mean, what did that feel like?
Yeah, it is tough. I wouldn't say it was annoying. It's tough, but I'll also say the reason that I took the job was because of Matthew.
Sure,
right? Matthew Gibson is the executive director at Big Brothers because he's wonderful to work with, right? And so I had a lot of runway to understand the programs. I think what's different is I'd spent years in Big Brothers, and so I knew it inside and out, right? And I'm not a subject matter expert in any of the places here, right? But I get to work with experts, and my job here is just to support them, right? To give them the tools and resources they need to do their work.
Yeah,
and it's cool. I'm learning all the time, but it's also humbling, right? It's humbling from being like statistically, I know, to being the one who relies on everyone else for information, but. I love it. I love it.
Do you still get to provide youth development in your role? I know you were working that. Does that come into your work now?
It doesn't. Okay. Although Virginia Humanities has an education program. Okay. Right, but in my day-to-day role, it's not a part of it, and I think that's okay. Yeah, I'm heavily focused personally on processes. And somebody told me not to talk about processes. They're like, no one cares. No one cares about the software that you're implementing. It's just
numbers,
it's not good
ones.
radio. And it is probably not good radio. But what it is, right, is it's the story of this is how nonprofits survive, right?
Yeah,
if you're creating something that you want to outlive you need to have the systems in place. And when you're a small nonprofit and you're just going, there's no time for it. Right. And so now I get to sort of sit back and evaluate my time as an executive director and sort of analyze those things that we didn't have. I don't know. I say we. Something small nonprofit in general that we didn't have that helps a nonprofit to grow and thrive. And in a space like Charlottesville, where there's over, I think, 700 nonprofits.
There are so many.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So we only have like 350 registered, but that's just our service. It's not Virginia. It's just the greater Charlottesville region. 350.
I think it's.
We have too many per capita. I'm just like 700. Woo.
Yeah, and many of them are doing great work.
Sure.
But maybe doing it right in a silo and need that support. So processes are super interesting to me. Right. I think it's vital, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
Processes make good radio.
Yeah. Well, it's the story of it's the story of it. Is there a thing when you look back at your time at Big Brothers Big Sisters that you've learned since that you're like, should have done that, or would give yourself advice, or some other, someone else who's in that same, are there certain things that, and I know you look back on your time very fondly and you had a ton of success and did a great job, but now that you're in this different spot, right? You're older, you're wiser, do you go,
But I get my hair dyed. What do you
say? That older comment.
I didn't say necessarily look older. He's like, you're older.
Not you're older.
Listen, here's what my grandma used to say. I used to say, she was talking about aging, and she said, it's better than the alternative.
I know that's right.
That's right.
But are there learnings that you're applying sort of from that time, even though you're in a different space and doing a different thing? I mean, do you have particular lessons that you lean on that you go, you know what, like I've seen this before, I've seen a version of this before, and here's how we keep ourselves out of a particular pitfall or stumbling over a block. I mean, are there things that you can take across the Rubicon into this position?
Yeah, I think so. Right. I think one of the benefits of a smaller nonprofit as an executive director is you have your hand in everything. Right. And so I have sort of a wariness of organizations, and Virginia Humanities is not this way, that don't have diversified funding. Right. Because as a small nonprofit, you understand that if you've got just one funder, right, you
living dangerously.
You're living dangerously. Right. I understand the value of taking care of your staff. Right, that your staff is sort of the lifeblood of the agency, and if they're not happy, if they're not able to live, right, you're going to lose them. Right, I understand the importance of deciding what you're good at and what you're not good at, because just because you wear all the hats doesn't mean you're good at all the hats. And so you've got to get some support so that, the agency's not just built on your ego.
If you are just joining us, this is Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WNA. Price and Markey here with Athena Gould. And big shout to our friends, our sponsors, the Jefferson School Foundation. That is jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. What is there anything exciting coming up in the VH world? Are there any things that are percolating?
Of course, always.
Yeah, tell us what's going on.
So we'll be at our second annual Cider Fest in partnership with
I love a little cider.
Do you? Is this like your tea thing where if she asks you, you're gonna be like, nah, I don't.
What cider do you drink?
Don't ask me follow-ups. Yeah,
I just mean I drink it whatever they got down there for.
I am a new connoisseur of cider.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be down. I think in November, in partnership with the Frontier Museum down in Stanton. We will be at the Richmond Folk Festival in October. That'll be down in Richmond. The Festival of the Book, of course, is coming up. It'll be April next year. Oh, and as I'm talking about the Festival of the Book, we are hiring for a manager for the Festival of the Book. So again, go to virginiahumanities.org if you think you might be interested in that position.
How do you? Go ahead.
I was like, have you learned anything about, being in your role at Virginia Humanities and being a mother? Yeah. Are there things that you take from home to work and work from home, and how does that work for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes. So for me, everything crosses over.
Yeah.
And it has always been important to me that my kids, all kids, right, have access, right, to all the things. It's one of the things that was interesting to me when you go back to the question of what did I think about Charlottesville, of how it's this really interesting town where there's like sort of low income housing on one side of the street and $1 million homes on the other side of the street.
Right.
But communities are not coming together despite the fact that it's right across the street. And that's something that I've not seen in other places that I've lived, right? So this closeness, but also this disconnect, right? So visually. For my kids, for all kids, it's important to me that they see what's happening, that they have a voice in what's happening, and that they know that they should do better, right? That they have a responsibility to do and be better.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you go to the broom learning class?
They haven't gone to the broom learning class.
Or making class. I'm like, that's crazy. I want a custom broom.
But even in high school, my kids have cited Encyclopedia Virginia, which is one of our programs. We're using it locally in the schools. And so they'll come home and they'll go, oh, this came from the website at Virginia Humanities, and that's cool.
We told them we already knew about it because Mom told us.
Mom's also on Encyclopedia Virginia. Like, I didn't know that. I'm learning that today.
Tell me a little bit about how you guys continue to do this work in sort of, call it, unpredictable climates.
Yeah.
What does that feel like? How does that work? How do you build, you talk about process and structure, how do you build that in sort of a mercurial environment where it's like, oop, your funding's gone. Oh, it's back. Oh, it's maybe back, but it's not back, but we don't like that word and we want to do, how do you navigate through all of that and make sure you're not only producing things that are good and authentic and true, but also sort of that constant battle of like, they got to get out.
Yeah.
Right. And how willing are we to sort of, stand in that space? How do you navigate that? And how do you, as someone who's working on evaluating processes and things of that nature, how do you craft anything in that context?
Yeah. I think every agency at some point is at risk of losing their funding, especially when your funders are foundations or federal government, right? You don't. Nonprofits in general are always sort of at risk. We're always on the verge of collapsing, and so that's not unique to Virginia Humanities. I think that agencies need to understand and believe in their mission. And if that's what you think is important, then that's what you need to follow through with. And at Virginia Humanities, under Matthew's leadership, it's something that we've been committed to, right? We understand the changing tides that are happening at the federal level, and we certainly have been impacted by it. but the mandate of Virginia Humanities and all humanities, there are 56 humanities councils. There's one in every single state.
Oh, okay.
And in territories. The humanities councils were created by Lyndon B. Johnson.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time
Shout out
ago.
to Lyndon.
I'm not name dropping. He's my friend. But the goal of Virginia Humanities, it remains the same, right? And then the belief is that you shore up your finances. We're sort of not living in this Pollyanna world where we're like, and because we believe in our message, we're not at risk. We are. But the mission is still the mission.
Yeah.
And so we have just been committed to doing the work and being inclusive of all Virginians because all those stories are important.
Right.
If you are just joining us, first of all, you're late. But this is a Vision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise. News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WNA. Price, Markey, Athena, Gould here in a more temperate Charlottesville. And thank you to our friends, to our sponsors, the Jefferson School Foundation. That is jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. Outside of work, when you're not working, what are you doing? What's keeping you busy?
Yeah, I'm a full-time Uber driver because I have teenagers. So
I was like, oh, okay, you do Uber.
Uber for my kids.
But you've got one going off to school.
I've got one going off to college.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but I still
That's
have a
very exciting.
16-year-old.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you're almost out of the Uber game.
I have a very, very social 16-year-old. Right?
Okay.
And so she's always like, you know what we should do tomorrow?
We, the royal we.
We.
Yeah.
We means I'm sitting in the
That's
parking
right.
lot
That's exactly
waiting.
right. That's exactly right.
But I'm there.
Yeah,
But I'm there.
Yeah. You're technically invited. You're invited.
Just don't come in.
Yeah,
Don't come
that's
in.
exactly right.
So I'm doing a lot of that these days, and I read more, which I never got. Right? And as an
When?
executive
I wish
director,
I
you
could
never
read.
get to. Oh, it's so lovely. It's lovely. As an executive director, I was like, there are books.
Yeah.
I'll get to them.
I just buy books and let them sit. I'll get to them one day.
What's the last book you bought?
The one, Fourth Wing.
Okay.
I forgot who it's by, but they're about to make a movie, I'm pretty sure. So I was like, I love a movie into a book.
Yeah. What's it about? Fourth Wing?
It's a fantasy. I love a little sci-fi. It's dragons. It's like a kingdom that has dragons, and you have to battle to earn the dragon. Like all kids get 16, and they're conscripted into the medical wing, the dragon soldiers, or the infantry. Most people don't survive the dragon unit. And then there's a love interest.
There's always a love
But I did not
for
know
the dragon.
No, for the main soldier who's trying to get into the dragon unit. I did not know it was a rom-com until like she was fighting her way through the dragon unit, and then this guy who supposedly hates her. Then I was like, wow, this is really nice. I do love a little rom-com. But I'm only like a couple chapters in, and then there's like there's multiple books. So I read the first one, and I bought the second one. But
Yeah.
who knows? That was about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I read a couple pages and I loved it, and I was like, I should get back to it.
Yeah.
So it's sitting on my dresser.
But you will.
Yeah, it's really dusty now.
What's the last book you bought?
I just finished a book called Judge Stone, and it was written by James Patterson and Viola Davis.
Oh.
It was great.
Is it a fiction? Is it a...
It's a fictional book.
Okay, I
right?
love
It's very sort of in line with How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh,
right?
yes, I love How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah, it's a good book.
I was doing a Scandal rewatch.
Really?
Really?
I do that sometimes. Yeah. But you have different eyes, right? When you look at it now versus when it first came
When I
out.
watch old stuff, I am really doing a lot of over-analysis that I was not doing when I was in my youth, just having a good time. I'm like, yeah, that's what they're trying to do there. If you read theory.
Like if I were the fixer.
Yes.
That's right. Interesting. Okay. So
What's the last book you wrote? You bought, read?
The last book I bought, let me see, by Adam Grant. I think it's called Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell. Outliers.
What is it about?
Yeah. It's just about like why some things work and why some things don't, and sort of a social psychology.
So
stories.
nonfiction.
Sounds like you're
I'm
talking about processes.
I'm a nonfiction, kind of. Yeah, I'm a nonfiction reader. That, and then another book called Rebel Talent by Francisca Gino, who has her own sort of research issues on.
Oh, it's also research.
about her, but she's just talking about it. I think the tagline is why it pays to break the rules at work and in life. So that feels like
that's what you're doing.
you're looking at me like that's up my alley.
Like I'm seeing the vision for the things you're reading. Books say a lot about
So
us.
they do. I think they do. Yeah.
Books would die.
But I'm again like a lot. Some of my pedagogical training is in social psychology and things like that. So I'm very interested in that. Why people make decisions. How do you and so there's some cool stuff in there. I've never got on the fiction like reading thing.
Life is so tough. Fiction is so fun.
I couldn't. I see the appeal. I just can't. The fiction I will do is like and this speaks to my attention span, like Dan Brown or like David Baldacci, give me like the 2-page chapters, right? Like, you know, have you ever read like the, you know, like the Lost Symbol or like, you know, it's like 300 pages and like 92 chapters. Yeah. It's perfect.
Octavia Butler is my like top author. So like I grew up on her. I started reading her when I was, you know, before I got to college, and like she changed my life. Yeah. I read those and I'm like, God, the parables. Yeah. I read them. It's Bible. It's word. Okay. So like I'm in the sci-fi fantasy, Afro sci-fi fantasy, if we can really do it. Okay. There's a series coming out, Children of Blood and Bone. Yes. I've read all of those books. Yes. So if you get Black people in science, baby, like get me to the future. Afrofuturism. I love that. Okay. I do not want to read any fiction or research. I'm living the research. Okay. I'll just. I am the social psychology. So you get write. It. Yeah.
You should author a book about it.
So oldest off to school.
Yeah. HU.
Excited.
The real HU.
So again, another transition point, right? Are you speeding up? Are you slowing down? Are you keeping pace? I mean, what is
with her?
Just in general, right? Yeah. I think it's sort of you go through these transitions. You have. My kids are very young, but I think about it as like you have a kid who's growing up, who's going to school. That's the point. Like you've done. That's the thing. That's like the great reward for all the hard work you've put in. So as you reclaim that time, where does the energy go? You know what I'm saying? Does it go to? Is there a thing that you were like, oh man, I can finally, the thing I haven't done because I've been raising kids, or I'm gonna go and work harder or take a nap for the first time since 1995, right?
Like, are you napping yet?
No, no, Athena. Good Lord, no. I mean, every time I'm out of sight, it's just like, Dad? I'm like, yep, we're still here.
That's the great thing about even having teenagers, right? They sleep until 1 p.m. So I was talking to Dwayne the other day. I was like, remember when we never got any sleep? Now the day's almost over. I'm like, are you guys gonna get up?
Yeah, right. Like, I'm waking you up now. Right. Like, yo, come on. Like, there's a whole world out there. We gotta,
I don't know yet how to reclaim the time. I will say, right, when you're looking back, right, you get to a point where you're sitting in your rocking chair and you're reflecting on your kids. Not own a rocking chair now, right? Because it's Virginia.
That's what happens. It's the grass and the rocking chair.
There are rocking chairs like at the airport. So I'm like, I should have.
I should have that.
That
is right. That's right. Yeah.
And I look more in, are they good humans, right? And now they're old enough for me to say like, they're not jerks.
Yeah.
So we've done our job. They're empathetic. They care about other people. They care about themselves. Right. They've got some idea for the future, and they're happy. Right. They're confident. They're confident humans. And so I feel like, okay, we killed it.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. That's right.
We killed it. Yeah. But knowing that for the rest of their life, they're going to learn. Right. They're going to learn. They're going to grow. What am I going to do with my time? I don't know yet. Yeah. Right. I look at my husband like, I forgot we're married. Like it's going to just be us. Right. And
empty nesters.
Yeah. And so that's starting to feel cool. Right. To envision what we'll do together.
Sure.
But we're not rushing the time.
Yeah. You got to read Discovery. Like, oh, yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. You're pretty neat.
But he doesn't have to rediscover me because every day I'm like, you're lucky.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
There you go.
I've made sure I've kept the drum.
Never going to
lest we forget.
Look over here. You're welcome.
Yeah. This is my daily affirmation. That you're punching above your weight, kind sir. That's really exciting. So as we look to, if we sat here a year from now, and said, what are you proud of, right? As you set up this year for Virginia Humanities, are we all in a bizarre July fiscal year game? Do you guys do that too, right? Yes. So the year's over. The year just started.
I think that's something we should start doing New Year's resolutions for fiscal years.
That's fun.
I think that's what we should do.
That's fun.
Especially if you're a nonprofit.
I like that. That's fun. No. Except, is it the federal?
She said, no, I did it in January.
No, that was a hard no. She said, I was with y'all for 53 minutes. I'm out on that. I
don't want to play that game.
As, if we look towards the next year, right? When we sat here, what would that thing be? If we were like, you did what you wanted to do, you had success and what is it, fiscal year 27? Mm-hmm. What does that look like for you guys? What are you setting up?
Yeah. For me, the more people that we're able to connect with, the larger the impact, the more successful the agency. So it's less contingent on us in terms of, but in how well we steward the resources that we have to amplify the voices of others. Because there are so many incredible stories out there. And if we're only telling stories from a certain region, right, or a certain age group, then we've not done our job. And Virginia Humanities has been really intentional about stretching across the entire Commonwealth to make sure more of those stories are brought to the forefront.
What you got?
I think that 53 minutes goes by faster when you have an amazing guest.
That is true. We don't have many like plotting, right? I've never like looked at the clock and been like, ugh, right?
No, never.
Like it goes by
230
quickly.
episodes, and each time I'm inspired. I leave inspired for sure. I'm like, wow, that could be me one day.
Yeah?
That's you right now.
I was like, have I had any guests that are younger than me on the show?
Probably not.
I was like, I always punch up.
You do. Yeah.
You should
I don't
be a
think
guest.
so.
Price interviews me every day. He asks me questions on the show.
That is true.
I want to hear what you. I want to hear what you.
I've taken that approach.
I never ask
so
Price
often.
any questions. I did today. I asked him about his books.
Yes. Can I? Do I have enough time for me to ask?
Yeah, that's great.
We literally
we
have
should give
all
people
the time
to do
and
that.
The time is sort of yours. You pretend to have a meeting that you have to get
No.
to. I don't think you ever actually go to this meeting.
Every time I tell him I do, he's an executive director. All the meetings he can cancel on his phone. I got 6 people above me.
Marky said, I start my day. You said
at 7:30. Yeah, he knows.
No,
She gets emails.
No. She does this thing where she hits that constant contact at the scheduled email to make everyone think she's up and working. I get an email from her at 6:45, like, oh, she's awake. No, we scheduled that thing yesterday. We scheduled that thing yesterday.
I sent it with my own hands.
Yesterday, at 3 a.m. Oh, scheduled for 6:51 the next day. Like, wow, she's up and at it. Yes, go.
I love this.
Yeah, it was going to be the exact same question. So when you reflect 230 episodes, did you say?
Yeah.
Later on what was happening just in your office with your kid.
Yeah.
Right? Does this feel like it was a great investment of your time?
Oh man, I look forward to this every week. It is such a ludicrous, I think, story of kind of the importance of luck in building anything.
Yeah.
Right? I think that so much of this is down to a little bit of a leap of faith from people like yourself who have better stuff to be doing than goofing off with us. But genuinely, why I think people find it interesting is because certainly us, but everyone who sat across from us has engaged with the process, I think, in a way that makes it interesting, right? I think we both fully understand that, like, we do not make this interesting, right? We are here as sort of a vessel for very interesting people and very cool stories, and we can shape it and turn it and sort of move it in directions that we think are either funny or thoughtful. But I think, and I'm not going to speak for you, but I think part of it is being able to lead with curiosity. And so when people ask, what do you want me to talk about? I'm not being glib when I say I don't care.
We really do not
I don't care.
We talked about movies for the whole time with one person.
We did. Yeah.
We was like, we talked about AI. They were not in tech. They was like, I like AI. I was like, let's hear about it. I was like, I hate AI. No, we don't care.
And so I think it's a bizarre space to take in sort of an agendaless format.
Yeah.
But I think what's cool about it is that it's totally driven by whatever's animating the person who's meant to be driving the bus. And so to your point about Virginia Humanities being like, you're not a subject matter expert, but you get to work with cool people and sort of gas the things that they're interested in. That's a lot of what this is that we don't, we sat across from, a guy who's like a psychologist at UVA, right? Like neither of us are holding a candle to that, but we're curious enough to be like, keep talking, man. Like, tell us about the thing and what about this? And am I wrong about this? And I think the other thing about this too, which is fun for us, is that neither of us are really afraid to just like lob something out there that might not be true as a way to be conversational, right?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about this. What do you think? And it's been cool to see people be like, well, no, I don't agree with that. I think sometimes we get in these shows and it's like, tell me why you're smart and you're right, and let's leave it there. Instead of being like, well, actually, I think that there's a part of it that's this. And you'll say, well, I experience, and again, having it feel like it's just people who are talking about a thing in a place that we're all rooted in, that we want to be better tomorrow than it is today. So I never had any delusions that it would keep going past where it was going, and at about the 40th or 50th, you go, okay, but we're not going to get to 100. And then, right? And so it's sort of like every moment. And then at 100, you're like, okay, we got a process is cool. And then at 150, you're like, we're going to run out of people.
Yeah.
But it's been, every Thursday for my child's entire life.
Yeah, but
That's incredible.
Yeah, and for me, I wasn't on the show. I was at the United Way when it started, but I didn't know anything about it. It was Price and Robbie, our executive director, United Way, co-hosting the show. I didn't even know we had this program. I don't know. I guess they was hiding it, but it's all good. It was COVID. And so I only came on 2.5 years ago to start co-hosting when Ravi got busier as executive directors do, presidents do. And she was like, hey, can you sit on one for me for one time? I was like, sure. And then 2 weeks later, she's like, oh, yeah, can you sit in again? I was like, sure. And then one day she was like, can you meet me downtown for a minute? And when I went downtown, we were having a full photo shoot to make me the new co-host for Price, which was great. It was fun. I was like,
you found
no,
out?
that's how I found out. I promise you. That's how I was like, what are we doing? She's like, we're doing a new promo shots for the show. I said, why do we need new promo shots? She said, because you're going to be the new co-host. I was like, sounds like a good time. And so for me, when I came on, I was like, it's a lot of executive directors. I was like, what if we start talking to some business owners, some small business, some people who, you don't hear from. I have loved every single episode that I've sat on. I've loved every single guest that has come on. I am always talking to strangers. And people are like, you knew that person, right? I was like, no. They're like, why would you say that to a person you didn't know? Oh, I don't know, because I thought we were friends. I don't know. Once you answer my email saying you'll come, I'm like, we're friends. Like, I can't. You're on the show now, so I'm just talking to you like we're having a conversation at my home. So, yeah, it is the thing that energizes me every week. If my role has transitioned for the past 5.5 years, but every time it changes, I'm like, y'all can change up anything y'all want, but the radio stands. So y'all go back and go to the drawing board, but that one got to stay. I don't care what else I got to work on. I don't care if I got to take 16 new tasks, but the radio, I'm going to keep doing it, and no one else is going to do it.
Yeah.
So I love it. Price, he's like a big brother to me. We do argue on the show and off the show. And I think people enjoy.
Magic, right?
I think
That's the
people
chemistry.
enjoy that we have a really back and forth banter. And I'm like, we're not bantering. What are you talking about? I'm arguing with them over there. They're like, why are you calling
upset.
every time they call it banter? I'm like, we're not bantering.
We love your radio personality. No, that's just me.
Oh yeah, no, we're just fighting. We're just fighting in public.
We're talking about banter. So, glad that he started the show. Glad him and Robbie had the idea, him specifically. But shout out to Envision Radio.
Still going, yeah, and it is largely, again, it's only as good as the people who are willing to come and give of their time and give of their story and be really honest. It's been cool to see people, sometimes people are like, wow, like I've never thought about that, or no one's ever asked me that, or I never said that.
We've had some people cry.
We have,
Really?
We've had people cry.
Oprah moments.
Yeah. They're like, I've never thought about talking about this. I was like, I'm like looking at them like, oh no.
Where's your tissues? You would think you'd have a box here.
They used their shirt. They had to go back to work.
Suck it up. But it's so cool because part of the impetus for starting it was, I mean, you know how media is, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's all clipped and it's all sanitized and it's all right. And so to have an opportunity to do something that was just meant to be sort of raw and a little bit unboundaried, I found very exciting. Right,
it's a little vulnerable for me to be sitting at this microphone, right? Because as an executive director, that's what most things are, right? It's like a clip or it's a quick interview. But I saw your questions, but I didn't know what you were going to ask.
You saw what it said above.
Listen, it was the biggest disclaimer. It's like, here's 20 things we're going to ask you, but we might not ask you any of these things.
I had to add that because we had some problems. Someone was like, you didn't ask me them 3 questions, remember? And so I was like, oh, Price, next time I'm going to add this huge disclaimer. I'm going to bold it. Yeah. And so I was hoping that it's reading as we won't ask you any of these questions.
No, it's hard read. And I had like answers for the questions. I'm like, okay.
People do.
And if they ask me the thing, you're not gonna ask me the thing?
Yeah.
That's exactly why I did it.
Yeah. Well, and totally. And again, I've sat in those spaces where you're so worried about saying the wrong thing. You're so worried about putting a word wrong, and someone's going to put you on blast for saying X instead of Y. And that, having been in that environment so often, it's just not interesting because then you can't you can't have a conversation with anyone, right? If you're sitting in a room with someone and you say a thing, you're allowed to contextualize it. You're allowed to reconsider it. You're allowed to do all of the things that I think are important in any dialogue. You don't get to do that when you just all we hear is you saying a thing for 8 seconds out of context. Someone goes, what was that? Right? That's fundamentally weird to me, right? And it stifles it always puts you on the back foot because you're like, he's going to try and stitch me up. I'm going to say something weird. I can't play that game, right? So I was never interested in that, right? And so I've never found like good media to be that, where we're always trying to like what is the biggest mistake you made at Big? Like, I don't care about that, right? I care about your reflection of your story and who knows you better than you, right? And so once we sort of found the path through was more about the person than, the product of the project, then it becomes very freeing because, there's no better, version of your story than coming from you, right? And so whether or not that's, Razor riding motorcycles or Eddie Howard riding jet skis or all the crazy stuff that come up from people we thought we knew, that's what's fun, right? Is finding all the little bits and pieces that, you don't get to talk about in your day. We're sitting in a meeting about kids. You're not gonna be like, hey, by the way, did you know I'm like an avid farmer? I'm like, oh.
That did happen. Cool.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what this is. It's like, we know a lot about the work. We can Google you. We can figure that out. What's in between the lines? And I think that's what's really interesting to people. It's like all the things that are going on in Charlottesville and all the people who we hear about or read about or have worked with or sat across from or had the good fortune of interacting with. What's all the stuff between the lines that we would never figure out that gives you just a much richer picture of what's going on?
So run it back. Hour 2. Let's talk about
We've done this before where we've had to invite people back.
We did have to invite people back.
Yeah, and we could do this. I mean, we could do this all day. Literally part of the reason that the show was a half hour.
Really?
Yeah. And we blew through. I mean, we blew
30 minutes
through
is not enough.
And so that's how we got to this longer format. But it is in this era. Everything's quick and short and clip, and no one has the attention span. And what we found is people are actually listening to it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so that's when we were like, okay, cool. We're sort of like your, especially, holidays and commutes and stuff. You need something to carry you down 64? We
got you.
We should do a 24-hour segment, though.
24 hours? We'll just like cycle people through.
Yes.
like a radio
special.
Yeah.
I'll write that down. We'll get it worked out.
You set it up. I'm still trying to get show notes from you.
Please. Everything's on me.
Anyway, thank you for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
That was awesome. This was a lot of fun. That is Athena Gould. If you have ideas for the show or want to get in touch with us, please check us out on social media at United Way Seaville, at City of Promise. The inbox is open in Vision at UnitedWaySeaville.org. If folks want to keep up with you, if folks want to interact with Virginia Humanities or figure out what's going on, apply for a grant, how do they find you?
VirginiaHumanities.org.
Piece of cake.
Or come over to our building. We're over at the Jeff School.
VirginiaHumanities.org. And again, the grant round is open.
It is.
Until?
It's rolling.
Rolling.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right. So get your paperwork together, get the stuff in. And is that Virginia Humanities.org also if they want to listen to stories, if they want to read, if they want to, front door, VirginiaHumanities.org. We get support on the show from folks like you. If you like what you hear, share this with your friends, your colleagues, your family, strangers,
your enemies.
Enemies, whomever. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, leave a rating, leave a review. That's how, that's the best way to help this show. Consider making a contribution, time, talent, treasure to our wonderful nonprofits in town. City of Promise, United Way of Greater Charlottesville, Virginia Humanities. That's how we continue doing our nonprofit work. And, of course, this show. Big thanks to our friend, to our partner, to our sponsor, the Jefferson School Foundation, jeffersonschoolfoundation.org. For Athena, for Marky, this is Price. Stay cool. We will see you next week.
Peace.